Hi, Grandma. What was life like when you first moved to Westfield?
When I first came to Westfield, I was very young. So it was 3 years old when my dad built a little house out on Rawway Avenue, and we lived there for the next 48 years. But it was a very narrow lot that he bought from the two old maids, the ladies that lived next door. He got a narrow 60-foot lot from the street way back for an acre. And so then he and a little carpenter built a little house. And then we got to know those two ladies next door. And they were really neat because they were two old ladies that taught school until they retired. They were already retired when I was little, and they taught in Rawway, and they were interesting because one was more friendly and outgoing, and I saw her a lot, and that was Josie, and her sister's name was Rachel, and I don't remember Rachel at all. She was always in the house doing the work. Josie would come over and talk to us, and she was interested in my mom because she had been a teacher in Wisconsin, my mother. So Josie and Rachel told us about the fact that their name was Folsom, Folsom, and they always bragged because they were cousins of Francis Folsom, who married Grover Cleveland, our president. And they thought that was pretty neat because Frances Folsom was very popular and everybody liked her as a first lady. But that was a nice place to live because we used to just climb trees, play in the brook, by the brook, and have lots of things to do. Help my father with his garden. We had a big garden. We had chickens, and it was pretty self-sustaining because we had food enough during the Depression, because this was following that 1929 crash. And one thing that's interesting is the fact that right behind us, through the woods, straight through to Central Avenue, there was a house, and at this house lived the Healy family. And the Healy family had a young man, and he grew up to be Dr. Healy in Westfield, who everybody really loved. He lived in Stoneleigh Park, and he would often cut school, and he would be in the back there. And my mother would go back and say, well, how come you're not in school? And he said, but I have to check my traps. I have traps, I have to check them today. And he said, I'm going to be a doctor, so I wanted to check and see what animals I caught. And then he would dissect the animals. He was always teaching himself how to be a doctor. And my mother would say, you can't be a doctor if you don't go to school and learn enough to be a doctor. So it turned out he did both. He checked his traps, he went to school, but he became a doctor, a very popular doctor.